We usually think of public art as a big statement, monumental or even controversial, but public art can also tell us about little things engaging our attention in a different way. That applies to The Shape of Play, an installation that will be at the Waterfront Park near the North End through the end of October. The installation was commissioned by the Jewish Arts Collaborative and curated and produced by Now and There. Joining us are the work's creator, Sari Carel, and from Now and There, Leah Harrington. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Leah, I want to start with the concept around this, what got this project going, the location, and what you hoped to accomplish.
That's a great place to start. The project was commissioned by the Jewish Arts Collaborative pretty much about this time last year. So we've been working on it for about a year. They approached Now and There, and I thought of Sari's work immediately. They wanted a project that considered freedom. And I had known that she had done some really interesting work with sound. And so I immediately wanted to bring that element into this work. And I think it turned out like really exceptionally to merge this 3D sculptural form with the sound form.
Sari, you did a work not so long ago that involves sound at a park in Manhattan near City Hall. What was the mission here and how is it different from what you did before?
It is different in a few different ways. The project in Manhattan was solely a sound installation. And the project here in Boston, the piece has a sculptural element and color and form. And so the cadence of the sound composition that's part of the piece is really in conversation with the sculptural forms and the shapes and colors in those forms.
Sorry, one thing that strikes me from looking at this, and maybe too superficially, is that if I'm walking by it, what I see, either it looks like something typically in a playground or a preschool maybe. Is that part of what you were trying to do?
I guess I was trying to go back to these really basic forms that indeed appear in the kindergarten classroom. And you see them a lot in children's toys, but also they are the foundation of modern art and also some of contemporary art. And they are really the building blocks of thinking about abstraction and abstract language. And I wanted to really show that connection between something that's seemingly so ordinary, like child's play, and really the most important works of the 20th century.
What works in particular?
A lot of works from the Bauhaus era, the Bauhaus school, even famous architects like Frank Lloyd Wright and Le Corbusier were really influenced by kindergarten philosophy and kindergarten aesthetic, and this idea of really looking at the world around us through these basic abstract forms and basic primary colors.
Leah, what about the location involved here? You could put something like this in a number of different places, but this is a special place. The Waterfront Park near the North End, where recently we had the controversy about the statue of Christopher Columbus. And I know that came after this project was generated, but what is it about the location that's so important?
Well, I would say we really couldn't put the work in a number of parks. Sari came here last September and we did a big visit of many different playgrounds around Boston. And what became apparent immediately about the Waterfront Park is not only it's an extraordinary, beautiful location right on the water, but it also has a really great kind of acoustical sense. So it's really a place where you can get the resonance of the sound, as well as kind of like the natural ambience of, cars passing, the boats coming in and out. So it really was the place that was most suitable for the sound element. And as for the controversy, that's something that we've talked and thought along about for much earlier than this piece. Our work is, while it's not ordinarily commemorative and it's not permanent, as we do temporary and site-specific work, we are in conversation naturally with the statuary that's in our urban settings. So I think we have some programs coming up that are going to be announced that will consider our urban spaces a little bit more deeply. And I think that this piece also really just invites a meaningful chance, or a chance to really think deeply about what is in our public spaces, like playgrounds, like statues, and what do we want to see in them.
Sorry, Leah mentioned about the sound element here, and also getting people to focus on the sounds that are there all the time. I think you did that in a way in New York. You had these sounds of breathing that were overlaid, and maybe making people think differently about the sounds around City Hall in New York and all that traffic flowing down from the Brooklyn Bridge. What's the purpose of getting people to change that focus?
That's a great question. I have so many answers for it. I'll just talk about a couple of things. I think sound is an incredibly, offers incredibly rich environments that we tend to tune out or just forget about through rushing through our busy day. And just pausing for a second and just thinking about the difference between hearing and listening, and training our attention on the sounds all around us and how they respond and converse with each other is, I think, an incredibly rewarding experience, and an experience that leads you to other ones. Also thinking about how those sounds converse with the images, the visuals, the landscapes, the cityscapes that are around us. So that's just one of the things that I wanted to show visitors, is really to train their attention on these seemingly trivial things, seemingly things that are completely in the background, and bring them more to the foreground. And think for a second and experience for a second that actually see how actually they're how beautiful they are.
Leah, one of the things that strikes me from looking at the footage here is that instead of thinking of this location as being in the thick of a big city with lots of noise and distractions, things are changing around this location, and it's more like a neighborhood. And I think, does this work of art make that more noticeable?
I think so. I think one of the most exciting parts of this project to me is that I have personally come to look at playgrounds in a whole different way. I'm not a parent, so I don't spend a lot of time in playgrounds, but what's been really exciting is to get to know so many playgrounds in and around Boston, and really realize that though a lot of playgrounds, we think of them as kind of similar, they're all a little bit different. They all have these wonderful, regular, abstract shapes, which I think the sculptures really allude to, and the sound really allude to really well here. I think what's also become apparent to me is that the neighborhoods and the communities around these playgrounds, the people that use them every day for years and years, they really make these places, and they make these places special. You know, I think it's really exciting that this project is in the North End, which is one of the most vibrant neighborhoods in Boston, and has been for a great long while. So I really do, I hope that people can appreciate these little pockets of their you know, everyday surroundings that they might otherwise have be a little bit tuned out to.
Sorry, this project was delayed by the pandemic, and it was originally planned to debut around the time of Passover, which is a celebration of release from bondage and plagues. And here it is, you're opening up in the middle of a pandemic. How does that feel to you?
The symbolism is indeed incredible. I think, you know, this time really has caused me, and I assume also many other people, to really rethink the most basic freedoms and what it means to lose them. And that really ties back into this piece and how it looks into these spaces that seem so ordinary, and some at times are really overlooked because they're just, you know, really seem to be a generic part of a city, but they are so rich in aesthetic potential and potential for community, and a lot of really important things, you know, happens in terms of building community in playgrounds. And so I think it ties together in a completely unexpected way that I could not have imagined.
Leah, that sounds like people stopping and looking, maybe not sure what they're perceiving, but talking to each other about it, and sort of rippling through. Is that what you saw the past few days since this has been up?
Yes, it's been so exciting to see this after so many months of being really just far apart from other people and kind of really stuck in our own little, apartments or homes. It's been really wonderful to see people kind of come together in a safe way. This is a piece that you can see and hear from a safe distance with other people and really think about your connection to other people that are unlike you yourself. And I think that's one of the really exciting things about public art right now. It's free, it's outside, we can be together while also being socially distant.
Well, thank you both very much for taking the time to join us, Sari Carel and Leah Harrington from Now and There. Thank you very much. We'll have more news in just a moment.